Mahaparivacharan. Rahman was happy to stay in Kashubai's house. Kashubhai was very conscious about Rahman's religion. Every Friday she sent him for namaz and on holidays she sent him for Quran class at the local mosque. She told him to participate in all Muslim festivals even though there were very few Muslims in the village. Rahman also took part in the Hindu festival celebrated in his house. Dathuram and Kashubhai bought 2 cycles for both the kids. Rahman and Usha cycled to high school and later they also rode their cycles to the same college. Eventually, they graduated, and that day, Koshubai told Rahman, "Unfortunately, we don't have a picture of your parents, so turn towards Mecca and pray to Allah. Pray to Fatima Bhai and Hussein Saab. They will bless you. You are now grown up and independent. Usha is getting married next month. My responsibility to both Usha and you is now over." Kashubai's affection and devotion overwhelmed Rahman, who could not remember his own mother's face. He prayed to Allah and his parents and then touched Kashubai's feet. He said, "Abba, you are my Ammi, you are my Mecca." Rahman got a job in BPO in Bangalore and left home. He worked for different firms for a few years, saw growth in his career, and started earning a good salary. He met Salma at friend's wedding and fell in love with her. After getting Kashuba and Daturam's approval, he got married to Salma. When he finished his story, Rahman was very emotional and in tears. "I was amazed at Koshiba. She was uneducated but very advanced in human values. I was surprised and humbled by the largeness of her heart. Kashibai had raised the boy with his own religion and still loved him like a son." By this time, lunch was ready and Usha invited me to eat. While having the delicious lunch, I asked Usha, "What made you decide to visit here?" "I have holidays at school. I took an extended vacation so I could come for Panchami. Panchami is a festival celebrated mostly by girls, particularly married women, who come to their brother's house. It is similar to the Rocky festival in the north, where a brother acknowledges his sister's love. I recall our history and remember the Queen Karanavati had sent a Rocky to Emperor Humayun seeking his protection. Now I looked at the wall in the dining room and for the first time I noticed 2 pictures inside Rahman's house, one of Mecca and the other of Krishna, both hanging side by side. Cattle class. Last year, I was at the Heathrow Airport in London, about to board a flight. Usually, I wear sari even when I am abroad, but I prefer wearing a salwar kameez while traveling. So there, I was a senior citizen dressed in typical Indian apparel at the terminal gate. Since the boarding hadn't started, I sat down and began to observe my surroundings. The flight was bound for Bangalore, so I could hear people around me chatting in Kannada. I saw many old married couples of my age. They were most likely coming back from the US or UK after helping their children, either through childbirth or a new home. I saw some British business executives talking to each other about India's progress. Some teenagers were busy with the gorges in their hands, while the younger children were crying or running about the gate. After a few minutes, the boarding announcement was made and I joined the queue. The woman in front of me was a well-groomed lady in an Indo-Western silk outfit, a Gucci handbag, and high heels. Every single strand of her hair was in place, and a friend stood next to her in an expensive silk saree, pearl necklace, matching earrings, and delicate diamond bangles. I looked at the vending machine nearby and wondered if I should leave the queue to get some water. Suddenly, the woman in front of me turned sideways and looked at me with what seemed like pity in her eyes. Extending her hand, she asked, "May I see your boarding pass, please?" I was about to hand over my pass to her, but since she didn't seem like an airline employee, I asked why. "Well, this line is meant for business class travelers only," she said confidently, and pointed her finger on towards the economy class queue. "You should go and stand there," she said. I was about to tell her that I had a business class ticket, but on second thought held back. I wanted to know why she had thought that I was not worthy of being in the business class. So I repeated, "Why should I stand there?" She sighed. "Let me explain. There is a big difference in the price of an economy and a business class ticket. The latter costs almost 2.5 times more than—" "I think it is 3 times more," her friend interrupted. "Exactly," said the woman. "So there are certain privileges that are associated with the business class ticket." "Really?" I decided to be mischievous and pretended not to know. "What kind of privileges are you talking about?" She seemed annoyed. "We are allowed to bring 2 bags, but you can only take one. We can board the flight from another less crowded queue. We are given better meals and seats. We can extend the seats and lie down flat on them. We always have television screens and there are 4 washrooms for a small number of passengers." Her friend added, "Your priority check-in facility is available for our bags, which means they will come first upon arrival and we get more frequent flyer miles for the same flight." Now that you know the difference, you can go to the economy line, insisted the woman. But I don't want to go there, I was firm. The lady turned to her friend. It's hard to argue with these cattle class people. Let the staff come and instruct her where to go. She is not going to listen to us. I didn't get angry. The word cattle class was like a blast from the past and reminded me of another incident. One day, I had gone to upscale dinner party in my home city of Bangalore. Plenty of local celebrities and socialites were in attendance. I was speaking to some guests in Canada when a man came to me and said very slowly and clearly English, "May I introduce myself? I am." It was obvious that he thought that I might have a problem understanding the language. I smiled. "You can speak to me in English." "Oh," he said, slightly flabbergasted. "I'm sorry. I thought you were not comfortable with English because I heard you speaking in Canada." There's nothing shameful in knowing one's native language. It is, in fact, my right and my privilege. I want to speak in English when somebody can't understand Kannada. The line in front of me at the airport began moving forward, and I came out of my reverie. The two women ahead were whispering among themselves. "Now she will be sent to the other line. It's so long now." We tried to tell her, but she refused to listen to us. When it was my turn to show my boarding pass to the attendant, I saw them stop and wait a short distance away, waiting to see what would happen. The attendant took my boarding pass and said brightly, "Welcome back. We met last week, didn't we?" "Yes," I replied. He smiled and moved on to the next traveler. I walked a few steps ahead of the women, intending to let this go. But then I changed my mind and came back. "Please tell me, what made you think that I couldn't afford a business class ticket? Even if I didn't have one, was it really your prerogative to tell me where I should stand? Did I ask you for help?" The women stared at me in silence. "You refer to the term cattle class. Class doesn't mean possession of a huge amount of money," I continued, unable to stop myself from giving them a piece of my mind. "There are plenty of wrong ways to earn money in this world. You may be rich enough to buy comfort and luxuries, but the same money doesn't define class or give you the ability to purchase it. Mother Teresa was a classy woman. So is Manju Bhagava, a great mathematician of Indian origin. The concept that you automatically gain class by acquiring money is outdated." I left without waiting for a reply. Approximately 8 hours later, I reached my destination. It was a weekday, and I rushed to office as soon as I could, only to learn that my day was going to be spent in multiple meetings. A few hours later, I requested my program director to handle the last meeting of the day by herself, as I was already starting to feel tired and jet lagged. "I'm really sorry, but your presence is essential for the discussion," she replied. "Our meeting is with the organizations of a CEO, and she is keen to meet you in person. She has been following up with me for a few months now, and though I have communicated our decision, she feels that a discussion with you will change the outcome. I have already informed her that the decision will not be reversed irrespective of whom she meets, but she refuses to take me at my word. I urge you to meet her and close this chapter." I wasn't new to these situations and reluctantly agreed. Time went by quickly, and soon I had to go in for the last meeting of the day. Just then I received an emergency call. "Go ahead with the meeting," I said to the program director. "I will join you later." When I entered the conference room after 15 minutes, I saw the same women from the airport in the middle of the presentation. To my surprise, they were simply dressed. One was wearing a simple khadi sari, while the other wore an unglamorous salwar kameez. The clothes were a reminder of the stereotype that is still rampant today. Just like one is expected to wear the finest of the silks for a wedding, social workers must present themselves in a plain and uninteresting manner. When they saw me, there was an awkward pause that lasted for only a few seconds before one of them acknowledged my presence and continued the presentation as if nothing had happened. "My coffee estate is in this village. All the estate workers' children go to a government school nearby. Many are sharp and intelligent, but the school has no facilities. The building doesn't even have a roof or clean drinking water. There are no benches, toilets, or library. You can see children in the school, but no teachers." I completed this sentence. She nodded and smiled. "We request the foundation to be generous and provide the school with the proper facilities, including an auditorium, so that the poor kids can enjoy the essentials of a big school." My program director opened her mouth to say something, but I signaled her to stop. "How many children are there in the school?" I asked. around 250. How many of them are the children of the estate workers? All of them. My father got the school sanctions when he was an MLA, she said proudly. Our foundation helps those who don't have any godfathers or godmothers. Think of the homeless man on the road or the daily wage worker. Most of them have no one they can run out to time in times of crisis. We help the children of such people. The estate workers help your business prosper and return. You can afford to help them. In fact, it's your duty to do so. Helping them also helps you to in the long run, but it is the foundation's internal policy to work for the disadvantaged in projects where all the benefits go directly and solely to the unprivileged and underprivileged alone. Maybe this concept is beyond the understanding of the cattle class. Mahaperiyava Sharanam.